Good morning, Year 3 and Year 4. It's Mrs. Martin here, and I'm going to take you through our writing lesson today. So we are starting a new topic. We finished our topic on Sankane poems just before half term, and for the next couple of weeks we are going to be looking at a discussion. So, in your books, can you please write the date and the LO for me? Today we are going to be looking at those words and phrases within our model text. And then have a think about the question for me, what a discussion means. So pause the video here for me, write your date and LO, and then have a think about what you think it means when I say we are looking at a discussion. Okay, so what is a discussion to begin with? A discussion is something that presents both sides of an issue or argument. So if I were discussing school uniform, perhaps, I would discuss for, so all the reasons school uniform is brilliant, and I would discuss against all the reasons school uniform might not be brilliant. I can do that with any topic at all. So I could do it about football, all the things that are brilliant with football, or the reasons someone might not like football. But what's important with a discussion is that you show both sides of the story. It can't all be about the positives, it can't all be about the negatives. You have to have a mix of the two in there. Now I've put a link here, which is to a brilliant video that I found on BBC Bitesize, which explains in a bit more detail what a discussion is. Now that link is on your daily timetable, so if you have a look on there for me, see if you can pause the video here, go and click on that link and have a watch of the BBC Bitesize video. Hopefully that has given you a bit more of an idea about what a discussion is. So our discussion then is going to be about dogs. Now I know that I love dogs and I have my pet dog Hugo at home. I also know that Mrs. Whiteman and Miss Smith both have dogs as well. So I think we're very pro dogs in general in year 3-4. But even still, our discussion mentions the pros of having dogs, the really good things about it, and also some of the reasons why some people might not want a dog, why it might not be a good idea for some people. Now, if you go onto our class page, you'll find on there the model text, the story map, and there are also two different videos. One video is of Miss Smith saying the story map as she points to each word, and the other video you can watch is of Mrs. Whiteman acting the story map out. So she's doing all of the actions that would go alongside it. So could you please pause this video here and go and practice your story map for me. Okay, hopefully now you have a good idea about what our discussion is about. So for our discussion, we are talking about whether somebody should own a dog or not. Our first paragraph is that introduction, telling the reader what the text is all about. Then we have a whole paragraph on why people think you should own dogs, what the good things about it are. A paragraph on why some people think you shouldn't own dogs, maybe some of the downsides, the fact that they're hard work, they do lots of mess that you have to clean up, and their vet bills can be very expensive. And then lastly, in our final paragraph, we go on to summarise it and show our findings. What did we think from having that discussion, from looking at all of those pros and all of those cons? Okay, today we are going to look at the vocabulary that comes up within our discussion. So you've done one of these before on Never Heard the Word Grids. You'll find this on the class page for me. And what I would like you to do is, just like you've done before, is have a go at filling it in for each word. So if you've never heard it before, you're going to put a cross in the first column, If you've heard the word, but you're not quite sure what it means, you put a question mark in the second column. And if you think you know what it means, you're going to write a definition or write a sentence using it as an example in the last column. So, for example, I might not have heard survey, so I'm going to put across. Household, oh, I know what a household is, so I'm going to write a definition here. Nuisance, oh, I think I've heard of that, but I'm not quite sure of the meaning, so I'm going to put a question mark here. Pause the video here for me and fill in your never heard the word grid. Okay, now you've done a fantastic job on filling in that grid, let's have a think about any of those words or phrases you were unsure about. We're going to have a look at their meaning, their definition together. So I'm going to show you some images and we are going to see if we can match up the correct word with the correct image. It would be really useful as well if you could have a look at the story map and see if you can work out any of Miss Smith's wonderful drawings and which word she means on there as well. So let's have a look at the pictures. I've got 9 pictures here and I have got 9 words or phrases. So we've got nuisance, debt, companion, survey, obedient, significant majority, ramblers, households, and rehoming. So they're all words apart from significant majority is a phrase. We've got 2 words together. So have a pause of the video here. See if you think you can match up the correct word with the correct picture. Okay, I'm going to think first of all about those words that I definitely know. I know that a household means the members of the family or friends who live in a house together. So in my household, that would be me, my husband, and my son. Perhaps you can have a think of who is in your household. Who do you live with? So I think household is going to go with this picture here, of the people living in the house. Rehoming. That's one I've definitely heard of before. Rehoming, you might rehome a dog if you adopt them. So that somebody might have had a dog and for whatever reason they might not be able to look after them anymore. So they might take them to an adoption centre, somewhere like the RSPCA or Fern Animal Sanctuary, and they might have a bit of a stay there while they wait for somebody else to adopt them, and we call that rehoming. So I'm going to match that one up with rehoming. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of them. Which ones do I know? This one I definitely know. Nuisance. I think nuisance is going to go here. He's being a bit of a nuisance to his sister, isn't he? A nuisance, you're being a bit of a pain. You're being a bit annoying. I'm sure that you could probably all think of some time where you found something to be a nuisance. If you found something to be a bit of a pain, perhaps a nuisance might be if you're trying to do your work and you can hear lots of noises, lots of distractions going on. It might be a nuisance if you get your PE kit out in the morning, you put it on the side, get all the way to school, and then you go, oh, I forgot my PE kit, and you have to go all the way back for it. That's a bit of a nuisance. It's a bit annoying. Okay, ramblers. Now I know this one because I'm a bit of a rambler myself. I like a good hike. Not so much at the minute, as I've got a baby growing inside me, so it's a bit tricky. But definitely, normally, I love a good hike in the countryside. So I'm going to match ramblers up with this picture. And that means if you're going hiking. Okay, what have we got left? Oh, okay, this word. Can you remember what this word says? Well done if you pronounced it obedient. Now, obedient means someone follows the rules. They listen to instructions. Well behaved. So I think that's going to have to go with this picture here. The dog is obedient. They're following those instructions. Debt. That's got to go with this credit card, I think. A debt is when you don't have enough money to pay for something. So you might have to take a loan out on a credit card. You have to borrow some money perhaps. So a debt would happen if you had to buy something expensive and you didn't have the money that you needed for it. Companion. A companion is a bit like a friend. I'm going to put this one down here with this picture. It looks to me like that woman and the dog are friends. He is her companion. They look after each other. They spend lots of time together. Okay, we've got 2 left. Survey. Now, your adults may have had a survey from the school asking them to answer some questions. A survey is when you have some questions and they often have different options underneath things for you to answer. So it might say something like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you love Brussels sprouts? And then you'd put 1 if you really, really hated Brussels sprouts, and 5 if you really, really loved Brussels sprouts, and maybe a number in between if your views weren't that strong. So surveys when they ask you a question and they give you a choice of answers and you click on one of them. And then the last one then, this one must be the significant majority. I might move that there, that'll be easier. So if you've got a significant majority, a majority means that of all the people, most of them. So significant means nearly all the people. So if I were to ask Fox's class, for example, do you enjoy your PE lessons with Mr. Parsons? I know the significant majority would say, yes, I do, because we all love our PE lessons with Mr. Parsons. So significant majority means most of the people asked. Okay, now you have got a choice of 3 different challenges today. Challenge 1 is to match the pictures to the sentence they go with. So there is a sheet on the website which looks like this. It says challenge 1, and your challenge is to look at these pictures, the same pictures that we've just done together, and then to see if you can match them up with the correct sentence. Okay, so that's challenge 1. Challenge 2 is to choose 3 words and then write a sentence for each one. So if I give you an example here, my first word might be obedient. So then I'm going to write a sentence which has the word obedient in it. So I could put in here, maybe I could put Reese's cat was very obedient. There we go. I don't know if Reese would agree with that. Reese's cat was very obedient. If they're very good at listening to instructions, they're very well behaved. Survey. I wanted to write a sentence containing the word survey. Perhaps my sentence might say, my gran filled in a survey at the school centre. And my last one here, I've got, nuisance. Nuisance. What sentence could I write that contains the word nuisance? Perhaps you can have a think for me in your head. What sentence could we have? I think if it was my sentence, I might put, my brother used to be a nuisance when we were younger. Okay, so that was challenge 2. So challenge 1 was matching the pictures with the right sentence. Challenge 2 is choosing some of the words and writing a sentence for each one, making sure that your sentences have a capital letter and a full stop and that they use the word correctly. Challenge 3 then is to see if you can find some synonyms for each word. So you've seen all of the words. Can you think of any alternatives? So rather than using the word nuisance in my sentence, what could I use instead? Now for this challenge, you might have a thesaurus, or you can find a thesaurus online as well if you ask an adult at home to help you. So choose one of our tasks today, one of our challenges, and please do send in your work to your teacher so we can have a look at the wonderful job you have done.